park in front of their garage. Nicky's about ready to go on the 08 model, just trying to, I'm sure, get as much data and much time as they can. Danny's 07 model is sitting there with both tires off of it, so Danny electing to go with the new one.
There's Masao Uzuma on the right-hand side. He's been moved over from Suzuki with Bridgestone's effort into the Ducati garage. Masao Uzuma, former 125cc Grand Prix victor, championship leader, and a crime he didn't win the championship were it not for some muntjac that ran out in front of him and knocked him off his bike at Brno in the middle of 1999. Stoner top of the pile. Situation normal, maybe.
But only by 0.04 of a second. We have seen Casey already today put half a second into them at the start of the session and then just toddle around collecting data for most of it, and then the others charged at the end of the session. So we still have the Bridgestones of Casey Stoner. Tyres are going to matter here on the Ducati, leading from the Michelins of Lorenzo, Edwards, Dovizioso, then the Bridgestones of De Angelis.
That's an 07 Honda. As you can see, the two little eyes, as it were, in the forefront of that bodywork, just underneath the number 4 of Andrea Dovizioso. That denotes that it's a 07 bike.
Actually, it denotes that it's a customer bike 08, which is basically what the factory boys ended 07 on. So it's the ones without those little eyes you should be looking out for. Those are the 08 bikes. You'll only see those in Repsol colours. And the question is, will they actually be riding them? Will they actually be racing them? Here's Shinya Nakano back on a Honda in the Grassini team alongside the rookie Alex De Angelis. And they are the Bridgestone shod Hondas.
Now then, here is Andrea Dovizioso coming through the penultimate corner, charging up, early part of the lap, my apologies, early part of the lap. Not quite a chrome colour scheme on that machine, but very nearly.
It's well tasty, that colour scheme. Whoa. Whereas I have to say the Grassini scheme, and I'm afraid that
oh, Danny's down! Pedrosa's down, and he doesn't know why. We saw this at this time last year. He's up and he's okay, and he's waving at something, and Danny Pedrosa, who crashed only but just over a month ago, and he's pointing to his head, and he's as if it's saying somebody's mad. Oh, and he crashed with Rossi! He kicked Valentino Rossi, an enormous crash for Danny Pedrosa. How he got away with that? Did Rossi let off the gas midway through the corner? Pedrosa got out of the gravel saying, "What are you doing?" pointing at his head. Are you mad?
Randy, did you see that? Well, you know, here we are.
Turn 1. Oh, my goodness me.
Rossi didn't look like he shut off, but that's a really hard call. The way that camera showed it didn't look like Rossi shut off at all.
Danny either just went in too quick or
he's blaming that one on Valley.
Definitely.
Yeah. Mike Leitner on the left-hand side, chief engineer for Danny, is worried. Alberto Puig stares at the screen, praying that that right hand is okay. I remind you that Danny Pedrosa's right hand has still got a metallic plate set in it after he crashed in Malaysia on January the 22nd, the first day of testing in 08. This is live. That's not a replay. That's live. Now, will Valentino Rossi come in just to check if the bike's okay?
His bike hardly moved. It was amazing. Danny's, well, when your front wheel touches someone's back wheel, you're the one who's going to go down. The front wheel is going to come off worse. And Rossi is still charging like he doesn't know anything's happened. Did he look round?
No, he turned around and looked. He did. Around, yeah.
Well, that'll fire up young Pedrosa, won't it, gentlemen?
Yeah. Well, I've got to agree with Randy. No way that Valentino actually shut off going through that corner. There was no...
Valentino's not stupid. He wouldn't do that. He would not do that.
No, but you saw the closing speed. That Honda was coming at a rate of knots. Was Valle on an out lap?
No, there's a section of laps right there. It's his third lap already.
Right, well, he comes onto the home straight. Valentino Rossi continues on. Valentino at the moment in 8th position. Stoner quickest on a 55.4. Rossi 56.4 in the greater scheme. The things is his fastest time. He's just on a 57.1, as you can see there. Stoner quickest from Lorenzo, from Dovizioso, Edwards, down to his toes from him. Now, that's the 08 bike of Danny Pedrosa. That is being prepared. 07 bike of Danny Pedrosa. Yeah. Sorry, I apologise.
The mailbox in the front.
Yes, thank you. The mailbox, the very expression. Casey Stoner gets on with it his own way. Will Dani Pedrosa be okay to finish this session? 18 minutes remaining in the hour.
We can be optimistic, I hope, about it, seeing he didn't look like he was holding a hand or a wrist or anything, so let's hope Danny's perfectly okay. He'll be bruised, though, because there's no sand in those alleged sand traps. There's big rocks, as we look at the violent colour scheme of Alex De Angelis' Grissini Honda, the San Carlo Honda, as we will be calling them this year.
Now then, Alex De Angelis coming up behind Valentino Rossi. Alex De Angelis, former 250cc winner from Valencia in 2006. Rainbow crash helmet. All sort of anti-nuclear and peace and love in Italy, but it's meaning something else on the other side of the pond, my American colleagues were telling me about. So that's all good fun. And we rather like the De Angelis name around the back of the crash helmet.
Something a bit,
I think that's cool.
It's retro, and it's interesting here. You're not seeing dark visors here because obviously we're under floodlights. It would be slightly, but people are cutting out glare by using graded tints and the old sunstrip. And I had a graded tint visor on my crash helmet in about 1982. You know, it's real retro look. It's highly entertaining.
Bit of a tint at the top like modern car windscreens have. Okay then, De Angelis. Oh, personal best. If he can keep 0.2 to the line, he's going to go third. Look at this. Look at this from Alex De Angelis. Can he keep the speed? No, he can't. He loses all of it in the last quarter. Pedrosa back in the garage. Pedrosa back in the Repsol Honda garage after this crash when he tagged the back of Valentino Rossi. I'll tell you what, Dani Pedrosa used up about 7 of his 9 lives there.
And yes, Valentino, you could see he was moved about on the bike and looked round straight away. Here you go. Look at the closing speed.
Enormous closing speed. Danny's so lucky. I cannot tell you how lucky that bloke is to get away with it, but he's still unlucky that the crash happened. What I was going to say at the time of that accident was Dani Pedrosa has been Mr. Unlucky in the last 4 races of last year. Last 4 races of last year, 4 pole positions. Japan, he was going to win that race. It rained. He only got 3 points. Australia, he only, as it were, finished 3rd from pole. Malaysia, he finished in 5th position, again from pole. And in Valencia, he then, of course, went on to win. But the bad luck that beset Pedrosa, in my eyes, I know you can't judge bad luck, but it's a qualitative judgment. It just wasn't fair. And, of course, now it's come back to bite him.
Yeah, and
that's not fair, I have to say.
And thankfully his right hand doesn't appear to have suffered any more damage.
If you're in that Repsol Honda garage, your bloke's fallen off and hurt his hand and has taken quite a while to get better from it. They've had to scrub, in inverted commas, the 08 bike short term and bring the 07 bike back. They've had to rebuild them until the early hours last night. They must be thinking, is somebody poking pins in us and a voodoo doll somewhere?
Yeah, somebody in Bologna has got the voodoo on, and that's Sylvain Guintoli, currently the slowest man of our 18-man field, 3.5 seconds off Casey Stoner's time on a similar bike. And just shows you how much of what happened last year was down to Casey, doesn't it?
Oh,
you know,
people
think it's the electronics or whatever.
Another rider from Ducati who spits flames.
Yes. Casey, according to the data, you will find makes up big chunks of his time on corner entry. The gap between, it's not like brake lean, everything happens at once. He just is so hard on the front end, so brave on the front end.
Sylvain Guintoli had an enormous crash, unfortunately for him, last Friday night here in Qatar. The corner that he's about to go into, he was having a test on qualifying tyres with the Bridgestones underneath him, and had a big crash. Now here is James Toseland. He's on a personal best and a fastest lap at the halfway point around this circuit. 0.2 under at the halfway point. Now then, up and down the gears he goes with that left foot. Of course, it's reverse gearbox with a racing motorcycle. Into the right-hander, building speeds as he's now keeping that momentum. He's lost a 10th, but he's still quicker than Casey Stoner to that point on the racetrack. Now then, here's the last quarter. This is the last quarter where De Angelis lost his time about 2 or 3 minutes ago. Can James Toseland keep the corner speed and gain time through the corners rather than the sheer speed of the Ducati down the straights? The Ducati down the straights was doing 328 clicks in the session this morning, whereas James Toseland was doing 311.
Slowest bikes out there, I think. And look at that.